Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
Okay, we are now joined by Soa the Hawk Palelei. Soa has just recently announced that he's been signed by the UFC. So first of all, I want to just say congratulations on being signed by the UFC.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. It's been a whirlwind the last couple of days, but it's been good.
I know you've been working very, very hard, and you've been turning a lot of heads recently. And I think people have been waiting for this to happen. So obviously, I'm sure you're just as excited as what all your fans are as well.
Yeah, it comes down to the fans and people like yourself that spread the word and I appreciate it. It's if it wasn't for the fans and stuff, it's I owe it to them and a lot of other fighters should owe it to the fans and people like you that have us on your show. So so it's I appreciate it and thank you for that.
No problem at all. What I'd like to do is just go a little bit into your background, really. Talk a little bit about you and let people know the other side to you as well. So first of all, let's talk about the start of your career. You started fighting professionally in 2002. What made you want to get into mixed martial arts?
I started boxing as a kid just to stay out of trouble, and then from there I went into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu into Greco and freestyle wrestling, and then I fell in love with the whole MMA, UFC, and stuff with the first UFC with Royce Gracie.
So that's what got you into it.
Yeah, that's it's the very first UFC. I thought, man, I can do. I want to do this. So then I started training. In the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that was like 16 years ago. So now, after 16 years, I got my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm first degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt now. So yeah, it's been a long road. I've travelled all over the world, to Hawaii and stayed with BJ Penn, trained with BJ Penn, and Japan, stayed at Yoshida's gym and helped him for his fight against when he fought Mandalay in Pride and. So I've been to a lot of places, Brazil and stuff, and it was my passion back then. This is when the whole MMA scene wasn't alive. It was just the public were just getting used to this whole the cage fighting back then is what it was called. Obviously now it's MMA, mixed martial arts. So I'm happy to be back and showcase my skills.
It's funny you should mention that, actually, because obviously when you started fighting, it wasn't recognised as mixed martial arts. I wanted to ask you, what was the scene like in Australia? I mean, obviously you started fighting, like I say, in 2002. What was the NHB scene or no holds barred or MMA scene like in Australia?
It was classified as like an underground kind of brawl over in Australia when it first started. Obviously there was a few promotions over here that were, few guys that were trying to make it, promoters that were trying to make it a little bit better than, obviously have it in the cage and have it in the ring back then. And still a lot of people wasn't educated on the whole ground, when guys had ended up on the ground and people were booing and stuff like that because they just weren't educated. But now that there's so much stuff that's on TV, on Foxtel, and so many fights. So people now know and they are educated on when fights do go to the ground and know exactly, because a lot of people train in it now. There's so many gyms around that cater for mixed martial arts and a lot of people that do watch it, they kids and guys that just want to go in and go walk into a gym and become an MMA fighter, but or just train for the fitness of it. And it's crazy how massive it's gone. So
I know you've been on a long, hard road, and you've obviously worked very, very hard to get where you are at now. And I know we're still to see. I'm pretty sure we're still to see some of your personal highlights. You know, we still haven't seen the best of you. We know that's still to come. But with what you've done so far, what would you say are your personal highlights to date?
You know what? Just getting in there and whoever my opponent is, I respect all my opponent. You know, a highlight was kind of, you know, beating Soa Palelei. You know, he's tough. You know, he fought in UFC and he was about 6'8", I think, and you know, he looked big and strong. And fighting him, and I thought to myself, how am I going to take this dude down? But you know, the fight, I kind of took care of that, you know, pretty quickly and ended in the first round, 1 minute and something in the first round. So it was, you know, that was a good fight for me to get out of the way, because then I knew where my levels and that were at, and how far I could take this. So you know, I can't wait to fight in June and showcase my skills, because the Hulk is back now. So the Hulk is back.
I know we're certainly looking forward to seeing it. Now, one of the things I did want to ask you about, and it's a little bit controversial, but you have got a fight on your resume versus Bob Sapp, and of course Bob Sapp is very much a controversial character within MMA. What are your thoughts on your fight with Bob Sapp, and what are your thoughts on Bob Sapp as a whole?
You know what? I got offered the fight. You know, I get offered a fight, and I said, yeah, no problems. Bob Sapp was just another fight for me. And you know, I cut him up pretty bad. So in the fight, it ended pretty quickly as well. So he's just a big unit, a big guy, and I thought, man, I just don't want this guy to be laying on top of me, because I might be having some dramas. You know, but when the fight happened, I hit him real good, cut him up, and the fight ended there. You know, I understand. A lot of people say it's you know, controversy. You know, the guys, some of these fights are controversy. You know what? A fight's a fight for me, and you know, and that was another fight, and I move on to the next one. And straight after that, I fought Soa Palelei. So, you know, you know, and if this, you know, if I didn't sign with, you know, with the UFC, I would have kept, you know, pushing and kept fighting. So.
Now, obviously, you said, you know, your line you said there was the Hulk was back, and I think it's worth referencing that you obviously fought in UFC before at UFC 79, and then you had quite a layoff after that fight. You were off for, you know, about 18 months. What was the reason behind the layoff?
You know what? It was one of the worst fights of my life. Probably the worst fight in you know. It's just one of them bad. It was just a bad fight. Whether it was premature, whether it was, you know, there was a lot of things happening at that time before the fight. Where you know, I did have to fly back, you know, 4 weeks out for my preparation, and you know, my kid was in hospital and stuff like that. But, and at that time, I didn't have much training in Australia. Then I had to fly back to Temecula, Team Quest. You know, probably a week and a half out. It was just, things were just, you know, didn't gel at that time. But you know, all excuses out to the side. You know, I'm back, and you know, I mean, that layoff, that 18-month layoff, it was one of them. You know, I mean, I'm sure every fighter gets it when they lose. It's like, you know, you just revalue yourself and think, okay, do I quit, or you know? And it took me 18 months. I've never watched the UFC 79 fight. It was just one of them. It's a big letdown to myself. So you know, kind of sat on the couch and started eating potato chips and ice cream and KFC probably for the next for 18 months. And then I thought, okay, I need to snap out of it. And so, but yeah, and you know, then I got back into it, and from there on, I haven't stopped. You know, obviously I fought Daniel Cormier, and I lost to Daniel Cormier. He's, you know, probably ranked number 3 in the world. And after that fight, you know, I was back to the drawing board, and I thought to myself, I'm never losing again. But you know what, Daniel Cormier is, you know, he's a tough opponent for anyone. You know, you don't get become the captain of the American wrestling team, you know, staying at the bus stop. So, you know, to be fighting that guy, he was tough, So, but 8 fights later, I'm at my position where I am now. So now I've just got to step in there and showcase my skills.
Well, I know Patrick's eager to jump in. Are you good to go, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm good to go, Ray. And Soa, thanks again for your time. We really appreciate it.
No, too easy, man. Too easy. Anything for you guys.
Hey, now, you had mentioned since the Daniel Cormier fight, you've been on just a crazy run. Since June 2011, you won your last 8 fights, all by TKO or knockout. Only one of those went past the second round. What has been the key since that fight?
It's just I took that fight on 2 weeks' notice. I was 17 kilos over, and so I had to drop 17 kilos in 2 weeks. I think I was pretty tired in that fight, but I still took care of business, and I've learned a lot through the last 8 fights. So I know how to where I'm at and where my conditioning and stuff is at. Ever since I did Southern, it's called Southern CrossFit. It's been the best thing I've ever done. These guys get me in the best shape of my life. Doing my CrossFit stuff, and I do Olympic lifts. And on top of that, I've got sparring. And, we've got a great team in Perth, Western Australia. So it's been good. Life is good at the moment.
Excellent. That's very good to hear. Now, since you've been so active since 2011, I mean, eight fights in a little over a year and a half. That's quite a bit. Are you glad to have a little downtime before your UFC return?
Yeah, you know what? UFC is the big, it's the big, picture at the, right now with MMA promotion. So, I'm really happy to be, to be with these guys, and I'm really thankful for Dana White and Joe Silva for adding me to their roster. Obviously, I've just got to prove myself now. So I'm here. I've been hustling for the last 3 years, with training, and if you're on my Twitter or if you're on my Facebook, I hustle every day. I haven't stopped. Every single fight, I've gone straight back into training and worked on everything, my stand up, my ground. I consider myself a complete fighter. So, I'm happy and I can't wait. And it's awesome. Can't wait just to step in there and showcase my skills.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Your last fight with Sean McCorkle, definitely, you looked amazing. Everybody, if they haven't seen that fight, I mean, this is why you're called the Hulk. You came in and, Sean McCorkle, 6'7", 6'8", you slammed him to the ground like he was nothing, finished him with some big ground and pound. Was there any added pressure going into that fight, be it from being on that long win streak or just the high profile of your opponent?
No, you know what? Sean McCorkle was a good guy. I spoke to him before the fight, and you know what? I respect all my opponents because they're obviously there for a reason. We're professional fighters. This is what we do as a job. We get paid to do it. And stepping in there and fighting Sean, he's it was good for me because then I could see where I'm at, where my level's at. He had a good corner, Tom Erickson, a legend of the sport, and Tom was telling me after the fight that all they were doing is defending takedowns. They kind of knew that I was going to, do a takedown, or they knew I was going to throw a left hook, but I still threw them and still got the takedown. But I wasn't planning on doing a takedown that early because he was just, he was really strong just to take down. And when it happened, and I took him down, and I went, oh, okay. When I was on the ground, I was like, oh, damn, I got this guy down. All right, let's try to finish it now. And I was like, it was one of them. I was like, oh, okay. So when I ended up, I think we ended up side position, and I was like, oh man, did I just take this guy down? was like, oh, okay. All right, now relax and now try to finish it now. So it was, I was happy for the win. It was a quick win. And I think Sean was surprised himself that, it happened so quick. And I mean, he did try to go for his, Kimura, his key lock that, he normally goes. He's got a good trademark with his Kimuras, and I knew exactly what he was going to do anyway. So I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so I know to defend that stuff. But, yeah, it was, all respect to Sean, and, here we are. We're stepping up into the next level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after that fight, it seemed like every major promotion was looking to sign you. Bellator, World Series of Fighting, One Fighting Championship. You had a lot of offers out there. Did you know that if you held out, the UFC would come calling?
UFC was always the dream, or was always the goal to get to. I mean, I fought in 2007 UFC, and trying to get back into the UFC just so I can show everyone that this is me now. This is 2007 wasn't. I'm back. I'm better, and I'm stronger and faster. So, and now that I'm back, it's I can't wait to get in there. But I did get a lot of offers from I was supposed to fight Andrei Arlovsky at one stage on One FC, and One FC was a 1-5 contract, and then I think Dana White released some interview that Dana White did, and Dana White said if I beat Andrei Arlovsky, we're definitely on the radar, UFC radar. Then One FC hit me up and said, "Listen, you got to sign a 5-5 deal," and I went, "Oh man." So, but it was a decision I made a right decision. I didn't want to tie myself with any promotion. So yeah, then Bellator offered contracts from Bellator, and it was just I mean these guys are big big promotion. So, but it was just I just couldn't, because I just had to get to the UFC, and I'm not getting any younger. I'm an old man now, so.
No, well, your choice to sit it out and wait for that UFC contract and not get tied down definitely paid off. I mean, here you are, you're going to be taking on Stipe Miocic in June in UFC 161. So are you going to be looking to train anything specific in preparation for that bout?
I'll just get a lot of sparring, and Stipe's got some strong stand up and stuff. He's he looks like a strong fighter, and he's fit. I did an interview the other day, and they said that he's a firefighter, so that explains it as well. The guys are fit, so all they do is train all day. So I'll still stick to the game plan, which I can't tell you, but he looks strong, and I respect him. He looks like a good fighter, and but we'll see. He's not going to obviously hit harder than Mark Hunt, but we'll stick to the game plan and see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, we see you, Soa, and we really appreciate your time today. Don't want to take up too much of your time. But please feel free to shout out any sponsors you have, and let the fans know how they can follow you on Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter on Soa the Hulk. On Twitter, and I'm on Facebook as well. I just want to big thanks out to Mac Boots. These guys have been awesome. They've stuck by me and sponsored me. They're my major sponsor. Also, a big to Southern CrossFit Limousine excursion. Most importantly, and the fans. If they're listening to this, I really appreciate you guys. Supporting me and the love that you guys in the comments, because and I if you guys hit me up, I hit you guys straight up, and that's the most important thing that fighters should do. They should put a lot of time and effort into the fans and stuff, because you know what, if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't be where they are today, or because it's the fans and people like like Ray and Patrick. You guys, man, you guys are putting us guys on the map. So I appreciate it, man. So, I mean, anytime you guys want me on your show, man, just hit me up, and as long as you guys pay for some food and stuff, shout me if we catch up one day. Just some free food. That's all I'm asking.
I'm sure we can sort that out. We'd definitely love to get you back on again, and maybe after you win your next, your return in UFC fight, we'll get you back on. Before I let you go, there's one last thing I want to ask you, because I know you've got a huge fan base, which is amazing. But can you let your fans know? Can you tell them how you're going to win your next fight? What's your prediction for the fight?
Oh, you know what? It's one of them. It's a fight. Fight's a fight. It's it's a hurt game. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to. My strong bit. I've got strong stand up. So if I end up standing up or on the ground, I've got strong ground. So we'll either way. I can't really say anything because then I'll be giving away my secrets. But yeah, that's a good question there. But sorry.
Well, we'll see it first time. We can't wait to see you get that win that you've worked so hard for, and we'll definitely be an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Patrick.